Life has a way of making us feel most times that we're not up to standard, we're not up to the level where others are. We try as much as possible to amplify areas where we are flawed than areas where God has really blessed us. I adopted a strategy, and this strategy has actually been working for me. But it's something that I normally do, which most times most people don't actually do it. You know what? A lot of my colleagues actually think I'm very, very intelligent. Like I'm very, very super intelligent. In fact, they see me as a god, a demigod. But the truth of the matter is that I am not as intelligent as they think I am. You might be wondering why I'm doing this video, but I just want to let out some tricks or some secrets on how some people could actually see you as a very intelligent person. Meanwhile, you're not. You're just a normal, average person. In fact, this is a very interesting topic. So I'm going to be very serious about it. I'm going to take off my glasses so that you know how serious I am. So basically, I was talking to my friend one particular day, my very close friend. We've known ourselves for a very long time now. We went to school together. Very close friend of mine. I was asking him, I said, his name is Daniel actually. I said, Daniel, if someone will ask you, you've known Williams for a very long time now, what is one distinct thing that you know about Williams that you tell the person? You know what he said? He said, well, I think you are very, very intelligent and also you are smart. And you're also someone that when you decide to do something, you try as much as possible to put in all your effort. So you're a very deliberate person and very consistent person when you want to. And most times when you do things, you want to be the best in everything you do. So it's more like the winner's mentality. This was how he explained this to me. And for a second, I thought, well, you are very correct. I know myself to an extent. Not like I'm not aware of these things, but I just wanted to hear from you. But there's something I want to clarify there. I am not as intelligent as you think I am. And then he's like, how do I mean? I said, well, this is what I'm trying to tell you, because when we say people are very intelligent, it means they are very cognitive to the point that they can easily assimilate. They can easily learn new things and very quickly. When we're in school in those days, and maybe let's say a lecturer comes in and then introduces a new topic. For instance, he said our topic for today is motion, and then starts talking about motion. Maybe start defining it, explaining it, writing the formulas for motion and all of that. I am one person that try as much as possible to pay very serious attention to classes, but most times it's always very difficult for me to actually catch up in time. And I know this part of me. I've known that I'm someone that takes time to catch up. Like I don't assimilate as fast as everybody. But it's something that I normally do, which most times most people don't actually do it. I adopted a strategy, and this strategy has actually been working for me. And each time we go in for a test or an exam, I come out with flying colors. What I actually do is this: when we're done with the class, I try as much as possible to go through the notes, read the topics consistently and more frequently than others. This is what I do. So I try as much as possible to read that particular topic as many times as I can and understand it as many times as I can. And this system has actually helped me to a reasonable extent that most times I come out with good grades, like very good grades. I'm always one of the top students in my class. Now, why is this important? Because this can actually be applied to your daily life events if you want. And I've also been applying it as many times as I can. There are some people that are very lucky. Some people are actually very cognitive. Some people are actually very wealthy, or they are very opportune. They come from a wealthy home. They have all the privileges or the opportunities that others do not have. There are always distinctive features that God has implanted in you that you have to most times amplify. Areas where God has distinctively blessed us. Now, this is what I'm going to. There is always a place where God has perfected you. There's always a place where God has blessed you or distinctively blessed you from others. So I understand that I'm not as quick to learn as every other person. So what I do is I put in that effort. I can work and work and work tirelessly, very, very deliberate and consistent and very disciplined to do that particular thing. I channel all this effort, all these distinctive advantages that I have into where I know I am flawed. And at the end of the day, I come out with good grades. So life has a way of making us feel most times that we're not up to standard, we're not up to the level where others are. But if you really look at it from another perspective, you will understand that there is also a place where you are distinguished from others in a good way. Okay? Now, what you need to do is to try as much as possible to amplify that area. Let's say, for instance, you're not as handsome as every other person. You are going to find out that you might have that energy or that consistency in you to do certain things that even somebody that is well built or that is very tall, good looking and all of that is not able to do. You wonder most times, how come this person is as handsome and as well built, yet it appears that this person is not able to think. Like, basically, he's not cognitive enough most times. He's an idiot. So there are people like that. But most times, what we do is this. We try as much as possible to amplify areas where we are flawed than areas where God has really blessed us or distinctively blessed us. And this tends to affect us. Because if you're able to find this out and you amplify it, you're going to be at the top level where you want to be. And nothing is going to stop you. Not even the flawed part of you. No. So what am I trying to say in essence? Life generally has a way of making us feel like we're not good enough. The imposter syndrome and the idea of we're not up to standard. We're not as good as people who are doing this. We're not as intelligent as they are. We're not as well built, as fine, as handsome, as beautiful as they are. We're not as privileged as they are. There's always something that our mind is always trying to tell you most times. And what you need to do is this. Find out where you are actually good and try as much as possible to take advantage of it. Because that's what life is all about. You try as much as possible to take advantage of areas where you know that you're blessed. Areas where you know that you actually have this positive part. Areas where you know that you can actually maximize it. And to an extent, you can monetize it. Really, you can monetize it. These days, you go to the internet and you see people streaming, doing all sorts of things that shouldn't give them money. But it gives them money because these are areas where God has actually blessed them and distinctively blessed them. So they try as much as possible to use it to their advantage. So it's more of using something that you have power over, something that you have advantage over, and using it to your own advantage as against others that don't have it. You might not be as handsome as you may want to be, but you find out that God has given you the ability to talk. Like you have someone that when you open your mouth to sell a book, for instance, you could actually market this book and then sell it to tens and thousands of people just by the words of your mouth. So that is where God has actually blessed you. And you could actually maximize it to a point that you are seen as someone who markets this particular thing and sells this thing, and then you are able to make money out of it. That's what life is all about. There are very rich people today in our society that are not even cognitive enough. They are not cognitive enough. They don't have good managerial skills. They're not able to put up a company together. But where they are lacking, they try as much as possible to get people to fill in that gap. So in as much as you are lacking in a particular place, you could actually team up with people to also help you to amplify that good qualities that you have. That's why you see that most companies have board members, board of directors, because each and every one of them have this distinctive advantage they bring as against their opponents. So most times you can't come out and say you need to do everything on your own. No, there are areas where God has actually blessed you, and God has actually blessed another person in a different area. The both of you can actually team up and come up with something very nice. That is it. So we have to be able to try as much as possible to find out where we have a distinct advantage over others so that we can maximize it. Of course, everybody's lacking in one area or the other. Nobody's complete, really. That's the uniqueness of the world. That's the uniqueness of this life. So where you excel, try as much as possible to maximize it. Very important. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to this channel. It's very important so that you can be getting more of our videos and our content as soon as we post. Thank you very much and catch you. You're welcome.